Hey everyone, welcome back to Universe Zero's development log, where I, Gravity Phil, will talk about robots, underground fighting rings, broken VHS tapes, and why the future decided floppy disks were a good idea. Big progress on robots, synths, biodroids, and cyborgs in the universe, and at least one episode that involves our players realizing we're not ready to fight. Click the subscribe button and let's dive in. First up, a little update on the actual play. I'm editing episode 3 right now. In this episode, the party is escaping an underground fighting ring while slowly realizing that Kabuto Town is not just neon signs, convenience stores, and machine shops. It's actually a city with gangs, power players, and people who really don't like to lose money. You'll see why. This episode does a ton of the heavy lifting when it comes to introducing the political and criminal landscape of Kabuto Town. It shows the players how they react under pressure, displays how combat functions, shows arena traps, attacks, and how to defend in combat, and locks into kind of the vibe of Universe Zero and what I'm going for. Editing wise with this, you might have noticed that I'm actually working backwards, and that's on purpose. So I'm going to be starting, once episode 3 is done, I'm going to be editing episode 2. And that's actually for a good reason. So with this one, in episode 4 is where the table and I, as the game narrator, really click into the tone and pacing and system of Universe Zero. So now with that, I can go backwards with 3 and 2 and eventually 1 to better reflect the universe and what it became versus kind of the rough start that we had. On top of that, episode 5 has already been recorded. So once I'm done with the current run, I'll hop onto that. And episode 6, we're gonna record that here coming soon. Once all 10, maybe 12 episodes have been completed, I'll start releasing them slowly. But you'll be seeing shorts and small snippets coming out soon. So keep an eye out for that. Like I said, robots, androids, synths, biodroids, those are all currently in development for Universe Zero and making them playable as character options. And I'm trying to make sure that they're not just reskinned humans, although they may look like it at a distance. I want to make sure that they have unique attributes and special features so that you have to actually weigh the pros and cons of playing a robot or synth. Right now, the biggest challenge, obviously, for creating anything is balance. So robots and synths use energy instead of ki for their energy-based attacks, which will impact damage types later. Robots have a tactical analysis and energy drain feature, so think kind of along the lines of Android 19, with options to appear more robotic or just kind of less humanoid. Synths will appear like humanoids from the worlds which they come from, and have specializations, so think additional skill boosts and bonuses, and increased ranks, which make them more powerful starting out of the box. Bio-androids, favorites of many people who think about DBZ and anime, think Cell as one of those. These are, for now, being placed back in the vault as they're interesting, and I would love to play them, but they need a little bit more fine-tuning and playtime to really balance out their adaptation features and skill siphoning abilities. So keep an eye out for that, or possibly an update in the future. I really want these options to feel powerful, kind of strange, and meaningfully different without becoming an obvious best choice for those power gamers who just see added ranks and go with it. So if you want to play potentially like a runaway combat android, a corporate-owned synth who's learning their own free will for the first time, or a self-actualized helper robot, then this is probably a couple of the options you'd like to play. Next up, more world lore as I delve deeper into Universe Zero. I wanted it to feel more like an alternate Earth timeline. So I've been working on the history of this alternate Earth, and one of the biggest questions I had to answer was, why do humans have hover vehicles, advanced AI, and robots, but still use VHS tapes and floppy disks? And the answer is kind of this technological scars over time. So without spoiling too much of the timeline that I have and still need to work on, it comes from just certain technologies became too dangerous or too unstable or unpredictable to use consistently. And it was too easy for, potentially a manipulative megalomaniac capybara humanoid who devised an evil plot with a robotic army to take over the world. So humanity kind of leaned back and went towards physical media and having the VHS and floppy disks, making analog systems commonplace, hard copies that you can find in game more common, and then tech that you can either unplug, smash, or burn if needed to break it, with your fists, more commonplace. Along with any intelligence system can't be mass controlled via some kind of wireless signal. So I really wanted this world this kind of futuristic world to exist, but have layers of fear and history and different kind of technological compromises that allow both this like high-tech, cool cyberpunk influence, but also have this real retro tech vibe to it, so that it kind of matches in that anime system. Skill updates. In Universe Zero, they got a minor retweak or rework. Skill dice pools are assigned through typically your organization or archetype choices made during character creation. You can learn them later as well if you'd like. That your character no longer has to spend their character building points on, but instead they get awarded or they can choose. This means that your backgrounds matter more, so who you work for and how you got those skills is a little bit more important, and then it also makes it feel like it's part of the character development and you're not just purchasing those skills. Mechanically, skills give you a small extra dice pool to help you reach a given target number. Skills can be used actively or passively. So an example would be like if you have the sword skill, you can use those dice to swing the sword in an attack, or use those same skill dice to recall information about sword techniques, famous blades, famous sword fighters, and additional combat lore with swords. This is more to unify the action and knowledge part of the system so that you can use the skills not just passively or actively, but for both. In combat, skills refill like any other dice pool at the start of a new round, so use them sparingly. Narrators, if you are trying to challenge your players, give them more options during combat to use up those dice pools, possibly in a passive way, so that they use them and maybe can't use them against your combatants or each other. You can also choose to burn these skill dice when an action calls for it instead of your core dice pools. So if you want to swing your sword and your special attack burns 1 dice, you can burn it from your skills instead of your core combat dice pool. Outside of combat, I've noticed that players want to use their dice pools and they'll end up using all of their dice when they're performing some kind of skill where time is not of the essence because they refill at the beginning of a round. So that's kind of up to you as the game narrator to call for when those skills reset. Generally what I've been doing is, for the rules, is while you're concentrating on that skill, you cannot reuse those dice until you've either completed the skill or failed at the skill. And then at that point you get your skill dice back. So just keep that in mind as you use skills outside of combat where it's a little more of a gray area. Target numbers, I've spoke about that, but there's a little bit of refining that we've done this week. So with target numbers in Universe Zero, they work a lot like DC or like dice challenge ratings in Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and other systems, but with like an added layer. Because you are using dice pools, it's not just the number to meet or beat, but the game narrator can also assign a number of successes required to pass a skill check. For example, you run across a computer that has a target number of 4 to hack into it, but you need 3 successes to successfully get into it. Think Fallout when you're trying to hack a computer. So you can roll your computer skill dice plus the corresponding dice pool that goes along with it, and you have to get 3 4s or higher to successfully get in. Now, the idea behind this is this allows for potential degrees of success. You could potentially get part of the way in, or maybe the files that you need to get corrupted slightly, so you only get some of the information. It also allows you to kind of have a more gradual pass-fail system. So this ideally is going to allow you to not only be a little bit more cinematic with your skill check options, but also show the progress of your character as you get bigger and bigger dice pools. So if something required 3 successes and you only had 3 dice, it's pretty hard. But once you have 10 dice, that becomes very easy. So that's everything for this week's update. Episodes are piling up that I need to edit. Robots are coming online. Art is coming along the pipe. Building more lore that's becoming canon for this game, and I'm really starting to tighten up the system, and it feels fast, flavorful, and more flexible. So I hope to have everything shareable when the episodes start dropping so that you can start playing your own games. And as always, thank you for following the project, listening to the actual play when it comes out, and supporting this little weird universe I'm making. So make sure to stay tuned for more updates. Next week, I hear it's about magic, mysticism, and the occult. Stay tuned.